Testing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and call us to order. This is our first meeting of the year, and first meeting, I guess, post-COVID, during COVID. It's a familiar group, but a brand new committee. Glad to see everybody back. Today is we're going to be doing two things. We're going to have an organizational meeting, so it's to adopt the committee rules. And we also, now as we are a standing committee, we're going to have subcommittees, and there should be a list of those in the members' files as well. And so I'd like to just give you guys a minute and take a look at the rules, see if you have any questions. Okay. So we have the rules, and I'm going to actually add one rule to it. We just came from a chairman's meeting, and the point was raised, and I think it's a good one, that there needs to be some kind of a mechanism in the rules for us to change them if we need to. If 2020 taught us anything, it's that we need to build in a little bit more flexibility, I guess you could call it. So under Rule 16, I'm just going to read this from. This is Department of Economic Development's rules. It's the chairperson may present to the committee a proposed change in these rules at any time. Any other member proposing a change to these rules shall provide written notice of the proposed change to the chairperson and secretary at least 72 hours before presenting any proposed rule change to the committee, and that rule would still need to be voted on. So, if there's nobody has a problem with that, we're going to add that to Rule 15, and then I'll entertain a motion for adoption of the rules. Okay. Move. We have a second. You have a question?
Objection to the change. I don't think we should start out giving the chairman all his power. But I can be persuaded. Can we bet on that?
72 hours is, and again, I was just reading this, 72 hours is long. Let's just say 24 hours before the change. And again, I don't see this as hopefully this isn't anything that we even have to address, but I think that we do need to have something in the rules that we can change them if we need to. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. Thank you. So now that we've got our housekeeping out of the way, we have Lee Thomas here with the Film Office, Department of Economic Development, here to kind of give us an update on the status of the industry here in Georgia, what it looks like out there, and kind of how we are faring in relation to a lot of other major markets in this industry. As we know, a lot has happened, and I think it's really beneficial for me personally, and I think surely for the committee to see what kind of a job we've done as a state, and and how the industry is doing, creating jobs and keeping people working in Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of the members of the Creative Arts and Entertainment
Hey,
Committee.
Lee, you have I think
Talking this. All
I
right.
think that one will work.
Okay, I was afraid of that. I'm so glad that this is a committee now. I want to kind of give you a quick summary too, just as a reminder of where we've come from. So in 2007, the direct spend of the film industry was $68 million. In 2008, we had the first iteration of the Georgia Entertainment Industry Investment Act. By 2019, the direct spend of the film and television industry was $2.9 billion. This is the first year since the legislation was passed that we went down, right? So, but we were on track to beat it again. So this year, losing the months that we lost, we went down to $2.2 billion, which was still very good. We still had 234 feature films, television productions, commercials, and music videos. But by late March, all of the productions had taken the initiative to shut down. So we didn't shut them down. They decided it was time to shut down. But by May, we had created filming best practices, a guide for Georgia to offer guidance to reduce the spread. And these weren't mandates. These were something that we worked on, and the governor put out in May. These were just best practices. We knew that the studios, in conjunction with the unions, would be putting together mandates, and those would be forthcoming. But we wanted to signal them that we would be ready when they were ready. So this best practices guide was the first of its kind in the United States. In addition, the Georgia Film Academy, in conjunction with the University System of Georgia and the Technical College System of Georgia, released a free online COVID compliance course. And in a matter of weeks, more than 10,000 people had completed the course. In June, Governor Kemp announced that MPAA member companies, which includes Disney, NBC Universal, Netflix, Sony, Paramount, and Warner Brothers, would begin to resume production and activity in Georgia. These companies made a commitment to produce 75 projects, invest over $2 billion in the Georgia economy over the next 18 months, and purchase goods and services from over 17,000 small Georgia businesses. So by late July, commercials had started returning. By August, we were seeing the independent films. In September, movies were started returning. And one reason that this happened was because of the amount of sound stages we have here in Georgia. you know, they were looking for areas where they could have a controllable environment, and that's one thing that they were looking for. But I wanted to, if I could, just take 1 minute and give y'all a kind of a rundown of the sound stages here, because it's staggering, and, you know, people in Hollywood think it's staggering. So in 2010, we had Screen Gems. That was the first one, you know, that was Lakewood Fairgrounds. 2011 in Hiram, Atlanta Studios, Paulding County. 2012, Mailing Avenue Stageworks in Grant Park. 2013, Pinewood Studios, the first Pinewood in the United States, located in Fayetteville. 2015, the Georgia Film Academy was started, and they have a soundstage at Pinewood as well. 2015 also, Eagle Rock Studios, I was afraid that was me, in Gwinnett County. 2015, Third Rail Studios in Doraville. 2015, West Side Stageworks. 2016, Tyler Perry Studios took over Fort McPherson and built 12 sound stages there. Atlanta Metro Studios opened in Union City in 2016 at the old Shannon Mall location. In Conyers, 2016, Eastside Stageworks was built. Blackhall opened in DeKalb County in 2017. Ozzie Aru took over the old Tyler Perry Studios and started a multifaceted media campus. 2019, the local partners of Pinewood bought out the UK partnership. In 2020, Pinewood Atlanta was rebranded as Trilith. And not only is it the soundstage component, it's a huge, you know, they've built a town next door with 1,400 homes and a wellness center and restaurants and all of that. So it's really impressive. Also in 2020, Cine Lease 3 Rings opened in Newton County on 50 acres, and they were fully leased before they had even opened the doors. So that it's amazing that the amount of stage space that we have. I mean, we started, we had Riverwood in Sonoy all the way up until 2010. That was our one purpose-built soundstage space. It was 45,000 square feet. Now we have 1.6 million square feet of soundstage space, and we have 2.6 million square feet of retrofitted stage space. In addition to those, you know, the purpose-built and the retrofitted, there's a lot of warehouses that are used time and time again for film and television production. So, you know, that's a controllable environment. And every time somebody builds, you know, since 2010, you know, we get a call from the media that says, aren't we oversaturated? And right now I can tell you that we're so busy that shows are going into the Georgia World Congress Center because we're out of stage space and they have no trade shows going on right now. So it's a good problem to have. Right. The second reason we've been able to return to work more quickly than some of our competition is the state's decision to let the industry regulate itself and get back to work. So they have stringent safety protocols. They do a tremendous amount of testing, and because of that, their positivity rate on all their tests is less than 1%. So there are incidences that pop up, but it's super low, and they have zoning and all that, and they're able to control them. So by October 2020, most of the film and television projects that we had lost and that had shut down, they had returned to Georgia. And I wanted to just give you a chart and show you where we were last year at this time and where we are now, if I could. Here we are.
Here, you sit back down and get rid of all of them.
We've
All
been
righty.
carpenter, but there you go, no charge. I'm the intern.
Oh, okay, thank you. No, I got one, but thank you. Let's see if we run out of them. So you can, if you got it, if you can see that the page on top is last year at this time. We had 23 projects going on. And the second page is where we are now. And right now, I believe we have 37 projects going on. Stranger Things is not on the list because they asked not to be, but 37 projects going on. And that's, these are, you know, just the scripted projects. We also have a tremendous amount of reality television. But you can see, in spite of all that's happened, we're up considerably now from where we were last year. So that's exciting. That's good news.
Good to see Cobra Kai on there.
You know, Cobra Kai's doing really well now that it got picked up on Netflix. It didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my kids will watch it. It's probably not so good to watch, but they're showing it. It's not as kid-friendly as it should be, but they're liking it, so they're learning new words.
So I'm happy to take questions about the industry right now, or I can talk a little bit about the audit or the new legislation.
Yeah, yeah, I know it's still, oh, it's gonna do that again. The audit just, you know, the 1037 just went into effect. I would like to get that, but, what are we seeing as far as, you know, like California, UK, how are they, what's the impression of the industry there? Are they seeing as much of a, you know, bounce back? Are they experiencing as much activity as we are?
No.
Okay.
I think for one, their positivity rate, but I think the fact that we just signaled the industry early on that we were gonna be ready for business when they were ready.
Can you talk into your mic?
Sure.
Yeah, thanks.
So, yeah,
Because
so,
we have some members who aren't here who I
Okay.
know are zooming in or.
sure. I think that the fact that we, signaled the industry early, by the best practices and by the announcement, by the governor with, MPAA, and by allowing the industry to regulate itself, that I think it signaled them that we were going to be ready before everybody else, and so we started seeing the lion's share of the business.
Yeah, and if you could, if we have an update on 1037, I think, I know it's still early, but I'd like to hear it.
Okay. All right. So, as you know, a little over a year ago, Department of Audits and Accounts released a study of the film tax credit. While GDCD did not agree with all of the findings, it did help us realize some potential shortcomings as far as administrative things and also changes in technology that, were something that we need to consider as we move forward. But I don't know if everyone got a chance to read the late Tom Cunningham. I'm sorry to say that he passed
Yeah.
away at the end of the year, but has everyone, you think, Chairman, seen that study?
Yes, we saw it. Well, we saw it last year, but if I can just take a minute, Tom was he was one of the most brilliant people that I've dealt with in my 18 or now 19 years in the legislature, and he was a big help in getting me to understand a lot of the things that we addressed in 1037 was certainly influential in passing the bill. So I was sorry to learn of his very recent passing, but thank you for mentioning that. I'll make sure that the committee gets another copy of the report because I think it's worth another read for sure.
Absolutely. I have one quick quote from that report, if I could. It says, the report, one thing that, the audit did allow us is to see the actual numbers. So normally what we get on the front end is we get the certification application, and that's a ballpark of what they think they're going to spend in the state. But we don't actually see the Department of Revenue numbers. We don't see that. We don't have access to that information at Department of Economic Development. So the audit did allow us to see those. And, according to Tom, the report shows that for 2016, the state had a tax expenditure, the credit, of $667 million in support of $4.6 billion in additional economic activity that the state would not have realized but for the credit. This large return is a combination of direct spending by the film industry of $2.2 billion with a spending multiplier of 1.84, plus another $501 million from film tourism and industry-related construction. In short, for every dollar spent by the state, Georgia's economy realizes an additional $7 in income in return. So in response to that audit, of course, y'all passed the film tax credit, House Bill 1037. New legislation tightens the bill again, which is great. It calls for mandatory audits of the film tax credit of their returns, which we hadn't had in the past. It also requires that projects be distributed before they get the final 10%. Before, we would certify everything on the front end, and now we certify the 20% on the front end, and then once they've proven that it's been distributed, then we certify the final 10%. There's also some tightening of the vendor language to ensure that the people that are qualified vendors for the film tax credit are definitely, here. They've made an investment in Georgia. They have a big inventory in Georgia, all of those kind of things to tighten it up again. So our first version of the rules and regs have gone through the public comment period and have been promulgated, because the session, went longer than typically. It was hard to get the rules and regs in conjunction with the Department of Revenues in a timely fashion and able to give, all the windows of public comment. So we went ahead and adopted those rules and regs. We have another version of the rules and regs that will be forthcoming, that will start the review period again, the public comment period again. And so we should have the second version of the rules and regs in the coming week or so.
Thank you for that. I will, if we keep it short, since we're not really doing any legislation here, do you mind taking a few questions?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Carpenter, do you have one?
Yeah, just a quick question. So did that bill, did those audit and, all the verification, did that start 2021? Is that when it started, or?
Yes,
So it
sir.
started
January 1st.
Okay.
That's right.
And then is the, sorry, Paula, I apologize. You stated on the 16 numbers, has audit issued any more numbers since 2016?
No, sir. They did 2016 because they knew that all of the information would be in, so they didn't do beyond that because they wanted, trying to get a year where they felt like everything would be complete.
What number do you?
3.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When you started, you said you didn't agree with all the numbers. Tell us what you didn't agree with
In the audit,
in the audit.
well, Department of Revenue in general did a response to that. I'm happy to share the response to it. It's pretty extensive.
Just rush to the bottom.
Just their calculations, we felt were inaccurate.
Were they short? Were they high?
They were, we felt like they were short and just not representative of the industry at large.
How short? Roughly, because you all had an idea, but you had to measure when you said
Well,
short.
I think it's more that, like, if you said,
Representative Williams, I'm going to try to help. Dr. Callahan, Cunningham, when he was here, the way he described it, he said that the economic philosophy of which the audit was done was correct from the start. He said if he was grading it, he would give it an F. And he's coming from a person who used to call his boss, Alan Greenspan, and I think he had the resume to back that up. So I think it's not a matter of high or low, but where they missed was the underlying kind of strategy or I guess way that they calculated the impact. And
Follow up to what you're saying, because it does matter, because the only thing people listen to out there is the number. Folk don't know the Greenspans of the world. So I want to know, if we said it was 50 billion, they said it was 10. I want to know, what did you say it was, and what? Because I've had folk come to me and say, "Oh, it wasn't this high," but it is important. So where do you think it was, and how much did it miss it?
well, I'm not an economist, I'm a film major, and I thought that the, Dr. Cunningham's report, it made a lot of sense, but I also understand the fallacies that he pointed out in the audit. So I don't know if that,
Okay, I'll move along, because you
It's
can't
the
answer
premise.
folk out there that don't know what we talk about.
Right.
Folk will know how much money came in against how much you said came in.
right.
That's all I wanted to know.
Right. Well, what he says came in is, 7 to 1 on what the state spent. So if you said you spent $670 million and you got back 4.1 billion, he said that is a good investment.
Okay. See, that wasn't hard.
okay, all right. And I don't know if y'all's the microphones out there. I'm not sure if they light up if you have a question. Do we have any other questions or comments? Oh, yes. Yep. Go ahead. What number are you, Winfrey?
I'm number 4.
Okay.
Number 4.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner, I really appreciate the information that you have brought to us. I mean, this is an impressive. This is very impressive for our state. You mentioned the amount of stage space that we have,
Mhm.
and that's also impressive. But what my concern is, can you give me the information on how much stage space that we have south of Macon?
South of Macon?
Yes, that's what I heard, was everything is pretty much.
Right. I know that right now they're looking at building stage space in Savannah, that they just put out an RFP for the fairgrounds, and so they hope to have, 2 out of the 3 RFPs that came in were for developing soundstage space there, so that could be a possibility.
Who's in charge of that?
I believe it's CETA, the Savannah Economic Development Authority.
Okay.
They bought it from the Exchange Club.
Trip Carlson and those guys?
Trip
Yeah,
Tollison,
bought it from
that's
the
right.
Exchange Club, bought it
Okay.
from-
So right now, there is no space south of Macon.
There is they had built one in Colquitt. It hadn't done well. I know that there's talk of building one in Albany. That was I would say the one in Colquitt was built 15, 20 years ago, so it predated the incentive.
I remember I represented them. We was probably about one of the few places in the state that had stage space, but
That's right.
yeah,
Ralph Wilcox.
it is.
That's right.
Okay, who's mic 6? Microphone 6. That is. Okay. All right, well, I guess there's no more questions. Let me turn that off. Let's see. That's it. Well, thank you very much for coming and giving us that update. I've been
Absolutely.
getting,
Thank you.
tidbits here and tidbits there, and from what I could gather, it was positive. It was surprisingly positive. Months ago on kind of the information I was getting, and look forward to seeing more of you as the session moves on. And if there is no more business, and some people came in late. With the rules, there's a subcommittee list on there. Given that this is the first year, we can move those around. I just try to keep them. We have a film subcommittee. We have music and live performances. So that'll be plays, not just music. We have video game and arts. And I try to keep them as balanced as possible. But if you'd like to talk about changing subcommittees, we'll see what we can make happen. And with that, we'll adjourn. Thank you, members.
Thank you.